Good morning. It is Tuesday, April the 22nd of 2025. Pleasant start here in north central Wisconsin, live from our 98.9 WXCO studios at the corner of Washington Street and North 3rd Street in downtown Wausau. Fair skies, partly cloudy, few clouds, little sunshine poking through as well. Temperature of 40 degrees. I am Chad Holmes. It is the Tuesday edition of the Chad Holmes Show on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. You can also join us by going to YouTube, youtube.com, and the 98.9 WXCO channel there. Be able to see a video of our program here for this Tuesday. And you can also join us by calling or texting us at 715-382-9297. That's 715-382-9297. Coming up on the program at 8:21, we will be joined by meteorologist Brittney Merlot. Sounds like it could be a little bit of a wet end of the work week as we get later into the week. And, of course, a lot of folks coming to Northeast Wisconsin at the end of the week, starting on Thursday for the NFL draft that will be held in Green Bay. And will you have to bring the rain slickers if you're going to see the first round on Thursday night? Kind of a possibility. I'm not sure exactly what the possibility is, but we will hear from Brittney Merlot about that forecast, especially if you're heading towards Green Bay at the end of the week. She'll be with us at 8:21. Then coming up at 9:06 this morning, we'll be talking to Robyn Vargas of the Marathon County Public Library. She joins us every other Tuesday to talk about events going on at the library. And then at 9:34, I hope I said 9:06. It was 9:06, Robyn Vargas of the Marathon County Public Library. And at 9:34 this morning, we'll be talking to Wausau Sustainability, Energy, and Environment Committee member Jay Coldwell, along with Ben Lee of the Hunger Coalition. They'll be with us coming up at 9:34 this morning here on the program. And then, of course, at the end of the show at 9:51, we'll wrap things up. When I say wrap things up, for the last 2.5 years when I've said going to wrap things up, we'll just wrap things up for the show. But today, we're going to wrap things up for the show, for the show as a whole. But at 9:51, we'll have our history lesson, talk about some of the famous events that have occurred on this date in history, talk about celebrity birthdays, talk about some of the special events being acknowledged today. And then our number for the day quiz. And we'll see whether we wrap it up that way or kind of put a bow on the program, because today is at least, well, never say never. You never know. Things could always change. But at this point, this is the end of this show as we know it. Yeah. This show will be coming to an end. We started things off back in September of 2023. Myself, I was flying solo there for the early part while we were still in the old building. But then the following year, it was like a year in that building. We started in the afternoons from 2 till 4. And then after a short time, the show got moved to the mornings, 8 till 10. after, less than a year. It was actually about a year, because it was almost a little more than a year in that building. Then we moved in the fall. When did we move in here? Actually, no, I said 2023. It was actually,
you did say 2023.
No, it was actually September of 2022 that we started the show. I tell you, the time just, it has no meaning anymore. But we started the program in the old building in September, the Tuesday after Labor Day, 2022. Started again in the afternoons from 2 till 4 p.m. And then after a short period of time, we got moved to the mornings, 8 till 10. And I think it was September of 2023, we moved into the new building, and then we brought you on board as part of this program in September of 2023. So we've been doing this, me and you, for the last year and a half, and the show itself for the last 2.5 years. And today it comes to an end. And the thing about it, and I'll tell you about the new schedule here, but I have just a couple of thoughts here. Obviously, it's not a joy-filled day. Yeah. And I want to be honest with folks. And the thing about it, it certainly could be worse, because it could be a situation where we're going away completely. We're not going away completely. We are going to be still part of the mornings with Pat Kreitlow, starting tomorrow. But at the same time, it does, there's a little melancholy in having this come to an end. Yeah. I will say that it's been a new experience, because I've been in this business for a long time. I'd never done a show like this. I've never done a show where it's felt like I've kind of gone out on the edge of the plank. And because so much of this show has been about who I am and my beliefs, and I've put my beliefs out there in a way that I'd never done before. I've been in radio for a very long time, but never in a way where I put my political beliefs, my moral beliefs, and everything else out there in the way that I've done so in the last 2.5 years. And I have to admit, there have been times it's been difficult to do, because I'm not somebody that generally is somebody that believes in doing that. I'm not somebody that believes a lot in conflict. So that has been something that's difficult. I will continue my train of thought, but I do hear that the phone was ringing. Do we have somebody that wants to come on?
We do. Our good friend Cornell would like to say a few words.
Cornell, good morning. What's on your mind?
Well, good morning. Boy, it is kind of sad with your show, because I enjoyed it so much, and I enjoyed your commentary and the whole team there at Civic Media, that you really all got out the voice for Susan Crawford, and that wasn't easy. And it's so nice that you bring out these issues, and I really enjoyed your commentary. And you talked about equality in baseball, and it's just kind of a sad day. But I hope you speak out and you get some time and talk about that. It was just a great thing with Susan Crawford that before that, Tip O'Neill, back in the years, he was a senator, and he always said big money is going to be the big winner. And the people in Wisconsin came together, and due to Civic Media, you brought out those voices, and Susan Crawford won. And I think it was so fantastic, thanks to Civic Media, that you brought that, how great she would be to be a Supreme Court justice.
It's actually interesting, Cornell, you bring that up. And real quickly, last week, a person on WSAU, the conservative talk radio station, spent a segment talking about Civic Media and talking about basically the failure of Civic Media. And because he had heard about the changes, especially with me, and I had spoken about him over the course of this show, and I thought, a way that was needed. I think that when somebody puts themselves out there as this moral bastion, and behind the scenes he's not that way, I think it's important to talk about. But I think he's getting a little bit of joy out of the changes. And as I've said before, I'm not going away. When things need to be said, when I'm on the air, I'm going to say them. I'm going to continue to add my 2 cents in terms of my beliefs and my morality and my political beliefs in what's going on here. But the idea that civic media failed in some way is completely off base, because if you go back, I think it's about 7 or 8 years ago, there was a Supreme Court race, state Supreme Court race, where there was a conservative candidate who ran unopposed. It's hard to believe that wasn't that long ago. In 2017, a conservative candidate ran unopposed. But now I think the lay of the land has changed, and I do agree with you that having the opportunity to have different points of view that were different from the 99.9% conservative talk radio that was out there before civic media is something to be very, very proud of.
Yes, that's very important, and to bring out certain people that nobody else talks about, like Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense. The other Maggie Dawn talked about that, and you have to bring out these people are incompetent. And where do you get that information? You don't get it anywhere else.
You certainly don't get it on the conservative talk radio station, that's for sure.
No, it's just like you said. People have to pay attention, and they're not. You got to pay attention, or else, the future. We're going the wrong way with the environment, because it's going to get a lot warmer, and people have to come together and figure out, who's the best people to lead us into the future. And I just wanted to say another thing is, I looked up the word hero, and hero is some person that does something courageous, and another hero is a person that does something with great achievement. And I think the heroes are in civic media, that you are the heroes because you had this great achievement that we got Chief Justice Susan Crawford in office. And that was, it's like breaking the glass ceiling, because these politicians say, well, the biggest money is going to win. And Wisconsin people came together and we won, so I got to compliment you, because you talked to Susan Crawford. Where do you get this information? I want to get information where, where are the bills going in the U.S.? Where are the bills going, laws passing in the state, because Tom Tiffany he doesn't want to build any more solar and wind farms. And also he wants the federal government to take over the Apostle Islands, and the state has to, those are our islands. Senator.
Hey, Cornell, we have a hard break coming,
okay.
But
right.
thank you.
And, all right.
I'll still be around. Hey, don't keep tuned in. We'll be right back here on WXCO.
Your voice, and you're a great one. Thank you.
Thank you, Cornell.
Good morning.
Good morning, Brittney.
Question for you guys. Do you know tomorrow and moving forward, is it the same link that I click?
At this point, yes.
Okay.
I have to admit, though, I heard this morning you're on with Pat right before this.
Is it right before 8:06?
Yeah, because
Okay.
he was saying you'd be on the 7, now in the 8 o'clock hour as well. So I may have to I don't know. I mean, it's. I think we can still be hyper focused on our weather as opposed to, because when you're out with Pat, it's basically statewide. So
yeah, I don't get to go into crazy detail because it's like
right. Yeah,
the
it's
whole
sort of
state. Yeah.
Yeah. So at this
We
point,
appreciate all the details that you give us.
so yeah, we'll see how it works out, because at the same time, it may be a little bit more awkward to have it back-to-back segments as well. So, but at this point, we're going to keep it, and we'll just see how it goes.
Okay. Do you have a 7 o'clock hour too, or?
Yeah, 7
What time in 7 o'clock did they come to you?
Well, I've been told again. I'm there's a lot that I'm not really sure about, but my thought was it was going to be the 2 8-minute segments, the 21 and the 51. But
Okay.
but there seems to be a lot of still question marks on it. So, but yeah,
Back in 5 seconds.
Step right up and don't be shy, because you will not believe your eyes. She's right here behind the glass. You're gonna like her, but she's got class.
and welcome back, Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app, plus at YouTube.com and the 98.9 WXCO channel on YouTube. The time is 8:22 here on this Tuesday morning. The sun is shining. There are some clouds out there. Yep, cloudy skies, but also a little sunshine peeking through, and the temperature of 40 degrees. It continues to be active in terms of the weather. We're seeing sometimes sunshine. We're seeing a chance of some rain. Looks like actually it could be a rather wet late in the work week kind of forecast. Boy, it's all over the place when it comes to the weather. Hopefully, we're going to start to get a little bit warmer weather. But to put it all together, to figure out exactly what's going to be happening here in central Wisconsin, joined again by our meteorologist, Brittney Merlot. And Brittney, good morning.
Good morning. A little crisp out there too. I mean,
Yeah,
geez,
well,
temperatures right now about 34 degrees in Wausau.
Happy Earth Day.
Yes, happy Earth Day to you too. Do you guys have anything planned? Are you going to plant anything or clean up anything today?
Well, definitely want to get outside. I'm definitely going to, take advantage and celebrate our wonderful Earth. And if I see any trash on the side of the road, I'm definitely going to pick it up.
there you
Yay.
go. Absolutely. No, it is very important, especially
Or
in
as
this
my mom
era.
always says, every day should be Earth Day. And she's absolutely
Yeah.
right.
She is. She really is. And you know
But-
what? If it's going to rain on Earth Day, it's what the Earth wanted. Okay.
There you go. Well, what about you, Brittany? I know you're doing things all the time though. So do you have anything special planned for Earth Day?
No, nothing special. Earth Day snuck up on me this year. So
I
I'm just
know.
going to go
Yes, me
outside
too.
and probably clean up around the river, do something, anything, because we've got a little bit of trash out there after the snow melted and it's kind of revealed itself from the winter. So I'll be picking up some stuff today and planting soon. I can't wait. Our temperatures are too close to that frost level. And by this weekend, we're still dipping below freezing. So I'm not going to plant anything just yet, but I'm going to dance in the rain today. I'm going to do that for sure.
Are we going to get rain today?
We
Because right now it looks
are.
pretty nice, but I'm hearing that rumble of rain. Should we get umbrellas out?
I'm not sure we're going to need the umbrella for it, but it is going to be a little dreary. We've got some scattered showers moving in right now and towards the Marshfield, Medford area. So it should be here pretty soon. Increasing clouds, few spotty showers, but this will be gone by about 10 to 11 this morning. Then we'll see more spots of sunshine later on today and high temperatures staying stuck to the low 50s. It's pretty chilly up northeast and pretty warm down south. They're going to hit the mid 60s. But we'll be here in those low 50s today. Some patchy fog is possible tonight because those winds are barely going to be moving. But then tomorrow, we've got a sunny start to the day, but more showers and storms want to fire up by late morning, continue through our afternoon, and start to wind down by early evening tomorrow. But tomorrow is also the start of a little bit of a warm up. We're going to hit highs in the upper 60s, and we're going to hang on to the low 60s for Thursday as that soaker starts to move into the state. It is the worst timing possible with the NFL draft. I can't even believe it. Like, couldn't this just come a little earlier or a little later? Why does it have to be exactly on the draft?
I have to admit though, the idea of seeing Roger Goodell get wet on Thursday night does make me feel good. I don't know why. It's like the commissioner of the NFL up there. Hopefully he gets drenched and the folks stay dry. But I will say it'll make it interesting. It's going to be as long as there's no lightning or anything. It doesn't look like that's going to be the case. It's just going to be rain, right?
Yeah, it doesn't look too much like thunderstorms or lightning, but some pretty decent rain rates. I mean, we could see up to an inch of rainfall as this moves through Thursday evening and into our Friday morning. But it does clear out of here by Friday afternoon. It's even out of Green Bay by Friday afternoon. Spots of sunshine by the evening. And then Saturday, I think Brad Paisley is playing out there for free on Saturday. So
Hmm.
it's going to be sunny and it's going to be gorgeous. High temperatures in those 60s for the weekend.
And I also think it's going to be very messy after those folks leave Thursday night, because when it gets,
Ew.
all wet like that, I mean, it's going to be just a major cleanup job for the folks over in Green Bay. Boy, oh boy, oh boy. But again, we're hardy folk here in this area. So I think that
We are.
everybody will handle it nicely. But I think the really nice thing is to have temperatures in the upper 60s tomorrow. I'm looking forward to that.
Me too.
I've still been wearing my winter parka to these games all week. It's just been insane that we're in the late April. I'm still have not been able to put away that coat yet. I want to be able to
Oh,
put away that coat soon. That's my goal here.
I'm with you. And I think a lot of us are shaking our heads. Yes, 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 please. We're done with it. I mean, there's flurries flying yesterday
I
in
know.
northern Wisconsin,
Yeah.
and oof. The warm up is here. I promise. I don't see those cold temperatures. I just see those cold overnights still for this weekend. So be careful planting.
All right. What are the details here for our central Wisconsin forecast?
All right, a few scattered showers rolling in late this morning. It'll be gone by this afternoon. Highs today 52 degrees, and then we spike to the upper 60s tomorrow after some patchy fog to start the morning off. It'll be sunny, and then those storms roll in by late morning through the afternoon, early evening. We'll get a little break before Thursday's soaker moves in. That'll be into the evening and Friday morning. Before that clears on out of here, Friday's highs will be in the mid 50s, and then the weekend, low to mid 60s with plenty of sunshine.
All right. Well, have no fear, folks. Brittany will be back with us tomorrow morning at this very same time. So some things change, some things stay the same, and that's a good
Yeah.
thing. So, Brittany, enjoy your Earth Day, enjoy your Tuesday, and we'll catch you tomorrow.
Bye,
Sounds good.
Brittany.
Bye.
That's our meteorologist, Brittney Merlot, joining us here on the program. Right now in downtown Wausau, 40 degrees is the temperature. It's moved up about 6 degrees in the past hour. Winds are out of the east at 6 miles per hour, so a wind chill of 36. Dew point of 34, relative humidity of 79%. The barometer at 30.03 inches and a visibility of 10 miles. Coming up, it's an information update. We'll find out what's going on with news, weather, sports, entertainment, and then we'll be back continuing here our final trip around for these 2 hours, our final edition of the Chad Holmes Show. I'm going to tell you about the changes tomorrow coming up. I want you to make sure that you know exactly what's happening. As far as we know, there's still things that are moving around, but we got a good idea of exactly what the show schedule is going to be, and we'll talk about that and more coming up next. With Ian Welsh, I'm Chad Holmes. It is the Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO.
Hello, I've waited here for you. Never alone. Tonight, I'll throw myself into the blue. And out of the red, out of the head she sang.
Chad Holmes Show 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. And again at YouTube.com and the 98.9 WXCO part of the app, WXCO, I should say the 98.9 WXCO channel on the app.
Mm-hmm.
And coming up in just a few moments, I'm going to talk about the mayor of Wausau, Doug Denny. And it appears that the mayor is turning into a bit of a mini Trump, that basically nothing that anybody else says that he should or should not do matters as long as he wants to do it. We're going to talk about that here in just a moment, and I would love to hear your thoughts on it, because he continues to basically say that if I want to do it, I'm going to do it. But first, I wanted to remind people about our new schedule for tomorrow. Again, tomorrow morning, the new Civic Media News Talk schedule goes into effect, starting with the Pat Kreitlow program. Pat will be changing the name of the show. It's been Up North News. It will be changed to Mornings with Pat Kreitlow. It will be the new 3-hour network morning show. Again, trying to put everything under one umbrella for the mornings. It's such an important time of the day as we all get set to go. So Pat's new show, Mornings with Pat Kreitlow, from 6 a.m. until 9 a.m. Starting tomorrow morning. Also, we will be part of that program with local drop-ins with news and information and interviews and even some commentary from time to time when I feel the need to let my voice be heard. So we will be dropping in between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. with segments here from our Wausau studios as well. And again, that's starting tomorrow morning, 6 till 9 a.m. Matinee on Air is moving up an hour. It's been on from 10 a.m. until 12 noon. Now it will be moved up to 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. Jane Matinee and Greg Bach, Matinee on Air. Then between 11 a.m. and 2 p.m., the Tom Hartman will be coming to the network, including 98.9 WXCO, one of the most popular and influential national talk programs. Will get you up to speed on everything that is going on each and every weekday, again, from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. So Tom Hartman starting tomorrow morning at 11. And then Todd Alba and Maggie Dawn, each being pushed back 2 hours. Todd Alba, who had been from noon until 2, is now going to be from 2 until 4 starting tomorrow. And then Maggie Dawn from 4 until 6. So again, that is tomorrow, the new lineup. So tune in earlier for us. Make sure you tune in the 7 and 8 o'clock hours for our local segments. And also, as we heard when I was talking to Pat at the end of his show, I'll be joining his show from time to time as well. So again, we'll see how it all there's a lot of question marks yet, because when you change things up, you got to kind of put all the pieces together in the proper way, but it should be some good stuff. So that all starts tomorrow morning here on 98.9 WXCO. 715-382-9297. I'm putting that number out there again, because I would like for you to let me know what you think of the latest from the Wausau mayor. 715-382-9297. Call or text us at that number, because Mayor Doug Denny, again, is just trying to push forward, and I think he's trying to alter the ethics board while he is being investigated. And yesterday, I received in my email, and others has well received an email from Doug Denny, as he has put forth 4 new members to the ethics board. And number one, again, the ethics board is investigating a complaint against him for unilaterally removing a drop box ahead of last fall's election. And what he did yesterday is not the norm. It's not the norm. It's in defiance of established legal precedent in Wisconsin and even against the advice of the special counsel to the ethics board. But the mayor, again, much like Donald Trump, just says, well, I'm going to do what I want to do. So the mayor announced 4 new appointments to the ethics board yesterday. 3 of those nominees are intended to replace current members whose terms expire on April 30th. And 2 of the members, and I got to admit, there are 2 members I know of as far-right Republicans. I don't know about what the political leanings are of the other 2. And in fact, they could be just as far-right as these 2. I don't know at this point, and it wouldn't surprise me if they are. But
dear.
at least 2 of these announced appointees by Mayor Denny are members of the Republican Party, and not just members of the Republican Party, but actually people that have been leaders in the Republican Party. Okay, in the email I received from the mayor yesterday, here are the 4 names that he brought forth. You have Lon Roberts, former managing partner of the Reuter Ware law firm. I'm not familiar with Mr. Roberts and whether or not he is a close political ally of the mayor or not. I do not know. Also, Dr. Thomas Garver. He is a retired orthopedic surgeon from Marshfield Clinic. Again, I do not know whether or not Dr. Garver has any sort of political relationship with the mayor, what his political leanings are or not. So, I am not familiar with those 2. But there are 2 names that were put forth by Mayor Denny yesterday that I think anybody here in central Wisconsin would recognize as far-right conservatives, and definitely folks that would be very close political allies to the mayor. You have Deb Hadley. She is a former Wausau City Council member, former person that was an owner of Hadley Office Products for many years, and also a well-known conservative Republican. And then Kevin Hermaning, long-time Republican operative in this community, going back, 40 years now, 35 years.
It's a long time.
He ran for Congress against Dave Obey twice, lost both times. Has been a leader in the Marathon County Republican Party for many years. He is a former chair of the Mosinee School Board, member of the Mosinee School Board, and very much a Trumper. I mean, to be honest, I remember back in 2016, I was anchoring our election night coverage here on WXCO, and we had a reporter at the Republican headquarters as the results came in. And obviously that was a good night to be a Republican because Donald J. Trump was elected president of the United States. I've never seen somebody crow like Kevin Hermaning crowed that night on the radio. He was doing a jig on the air, I think.
Oh boy.
And he is very much a far-right Republican, and there was, again, this is opinion, but the idea that Deb Hadley and Kevin Hermaning are not there for any other reason to be reliable Doug Denny votes on the ethics board is beyond belief. I just think that's, again, if you're looking for people that are going to be fair, look at the evidence and then make a decision that could go against the mayor. Those 2 are not the ones. It's
No, they're not.
But so we got 3 members of the ethics board whose terms are expiring. You got Doug Hostler, Robyn Vargas, and Brian Mason. But they can continue to serve, and their term ends next week, on May 30th. I should say April 30th.
Yeah.
But they may continue serving until the Wausau City Council approves their replacements. Back in February, Mayor Denny nominated another GOP-affiliated official to a vacant alternate seat, but the city council decided to delay action. This person was, again, somebody that worked in the office of Tom Tiffany. So, again, another far-right member trying to be pushed onto the ethics board while it investigates an ethics complaint involving the Dropbox against Mayor Denny. So right now, the council is not going to put on any new members until this alleged ethics code violation investigation is complete.
Which I think is a good idea.
So you don't want to be changing the board members in the midst of this investigation. And that seems to be, I think, a prudent way to go.
It's exactly what the mayor wants to do. He wants to change the members of the board so that the decision is canceled and he gets off scot-free. I mean,
Well,
the only reason he's trying to change out these members, I think, is because he wants to alter the final decision of what the ethics complaint will be.
well, I mean, I think that trying to get the best jury to decide this issue is one of the things that is being done at this point. The mayor, in his announcement that he has sent out, said, "These are well-respected, qualified individuals who will serve the city with distinction in this capacity." But the city council has stated that they want to wait on this. They want to wait to hold off on new appointments. So they're not going to do anything. So the bottom line is, at this point, despite the mayor putting out this announcement, despite his want of adding these folks to the ethics board, it's not going to happen. The council has said they're not going to do anything. And right now, the current members of the board, under current Wisconsin statute, Wisconsin, the courts have said that in these situations that until somebody new is appointed, that they can sit on. In fact, as it's sort of ironic here, today being the last day of this program. Back in the early days of the show, in fact, when I started this show in the fall of 2022, one of the big stories that I followed was involving the State Natural Resources Board. And there was a Wausau resident who was on the board who refused to leave the board. His term came to an end, but he refused to leave. And then, and then some Democrats wanted him to leave, but and then the state Senate would not approve a new member of the board. And then the court said, well, as long as nobody has been appointed and then confirmed to the board, that Frederick Prane would be able to stay on the board. So now it's like flipped. It's flipped. Because now it is a situation where the mayor and the Republicans would like to see these members of the ethics board removed when its term comes to an end next week. But instead, based on the Frederick Prane rule, no, they don't have to go anywhere until somebody else is approved to the board. So again, it's turned on its head from the very start of this program to here on its very last date. It's just very, very ironic in my mind. So again, it's I don't know what ultimately the mayor is trying to do here, because again, based on everything that I know, he's not going to be able to get these folks on the board until his issues in front of the ethics board is complete. So again, it just feels as though the mayor seems to think that despite what others tell him, well, if he wants to do it, he's going to do it. And I think that a little less of this Trump-like behavior would be not only in the interest of the city of Wausau, but also perhaps in the interest of the mayor of Wausau as well. So again, just very interesting to note that this is continuing. And as I've said before, it just seems as though this has really taken a long time. And again, I don't know whether I'm being too impatient here, but it feels as though it's not a case where you're trying to find this hidden evidence. He came out in plain sight with his hard hat and his vest on and hauled away a Dropbox against the rules.
The evidence is out there.
So
there are pictures of this, of him doing
and
it.
he took the pictures himself. So I don't know what is going on here in terms of the dragging of the feet when it comes to ultimately finally coming to a conclusion on this investigation, and also with the Wisconsin Department of Justice as well in their investigation. But that's just me. I don't make these decisions, and perhaps the mayor should say once in a while, I don't make this decision as well, because you don't make all the decisions. The time is 8:49. We're going to take a quick time out and be right back. Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO. This afternoon, it's a battle for second place in the Wisconsin Valley Conference in high school softball, as the Wausau West Warriors travel to Stevens Point to take on the Panthers. Hear all the exciting action live on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM. Mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app, starting with the pregame show at 4:20 and the first pitch at 4:30. Wausau West Softball on 98.9 WXCO is brought to you by the Cloverbell Credit Union, Red Robin Restaurants, Sun Printing, the Wausau West Athletic Department, Coast to Coast Marketing. It's Wausau West at Stevens Point in high school softball. Today, starting with the pregame show at 4:20 and the first pitch at 4:30. Live on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM. Mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app.
I've got a pocket full of holes, head in the clouds, the king of fools. You've got a ribbon of rainbows, the sun in your eyes, running through. Could be I'm happy, I'm sad, could be I'm losing my head over you. Well, you gotta be crazy, baby, to want a guy like me. Yeah, you've gotta be out of your mind, crazy.
Chan Home Show 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO. Civic Media app and at YouTube.com and the 98.9 WXCO channel. The time is 8:53. If you have any thoughts on the mayor's actions yesterday or anything else, call or text us at 715-382-9297. That's 715-382-9297. As you just heard, we have high school softball later today. I'll be heading down to Stevens Point as Wausau West takes on Spash. Both teams 2-1 in the WVC. 4:20 for the pregame, and the first pitch set for 4:30. Yesterday, I was down in Wisconsin Rapids as the Newman Catholic Cardinals took on the Auburndale Eagles in high school baseball, and Newman fell to Auburndale by a score of 11-1. Also yesterday in high school baseball, Wittenberg-Burnhamwood edged Mosinee 6-5. Marshfield over Menominee 6-5 as well. Edgar topped Wisconsin Rapids Assumption 14-0. High school softball yesterday in extra innings, good win for the Marathon Red Raiders. Marathon softball team edged Stratford by a score of 4-3. Also in the Merrillwood South, it was Auburndale over Newman Catholic by a score of 15-0. Good non-conference win for Mosinee in softball. They defeated Marshfield by a score of 7-1. Stevens Point beat De Pere 16-6 yesterday as well. High school girls soccer, DC Everest got past Appleton West last evening by a score of 4-3. Looking at the schedule today, the rain should be pushed through by the end of this morning, so get out there and support area student athletes. High school baseball, Wausau West of the Wisconsin Valley Conference plays their first league game of the year. They take on Merrill up at Athletic Park in Merrill today. Also in the WVC, DC Everest is at Wausau East and Stevens Point at Wisconsin Rapids. In the Great Northern Conference, Rhinelander is at Mosinee. Also in the CWC South, Newman Catholic, after falling to Auburndale yesterday, Cardinals will play host to Auburndale today at 4:45 over at Brockmeyer Park here in Wausau. Big one in the Merrillwood South has Marathon at Stratford this afternoon, and also in the Merrillwood South, Edgar is at Assumption Catholic. Other games on the hardball diamond, Abby Colby is at Athens today. Antigo is at Medford this afternoon as well. High school softball, in addition to our game with Wausau West at Stevens Point this afternoon, also in the Wisconsin Valley Conference, DC Everest is hosting Marshfield, and Merrill is at Wausau East. Merrillwood South has Newman Catholic at home at Sunnyvale Softball Complex at 4:45 today, hosting Auburndale. Marathon travels to Stratford. So yesterday, Marathon edged Stratford in extras 4-3, and those two teams will go at it again today. Edgar is at Wisconsin Rapids Assumption. In the Great Northern, Mosinee is at Rhinelander in softball. Also, Medford at Antigo. Tomahawk today travels to Wittenberg-Burnhamwood as well. And Northern Lutheran is home against Colby Abbotsford. So that's a look at the baseball and softball going on. Last night, the Brewers, they fell late. They were out west taking on the San Francisco Giants. Giants beat the Brewers by a score of 5-2. So the Brewers starting off their West Coast trip with a loss. They will take on the Giants again tonight at Oracle Park.
Come on, Brewers.
And also the Milwaukee Bucks will try to even up their NBA Eastern Conference first-round series with the Indiana Pacers at a game apiece. Tonight, game number 2 at Indianapolis, Bucks and the Pacers. Right now, still a question mark on whether or not Damian Lillard will play for Milwaukee. Again, he had missed last dozen games of the regular season with that blood clot in his leg. He has been cleared. He's returned to practice, and now it's just about getting ready to go. And we'll see whether or not he gets any activity off the bench, I would imagine, tonight against the Pacers. Bucks don't want to go home down 2 games to none.
No.
So that's
it was the best 4 out of 7, right?
It is 4 out of 7.
Okay.
So that's the good news. There's still time to turn it around, but you don't want to dig a 2 games to none deficit and then put all the pressure on for Milwaukee at home in games 3 and 4. You win tonight, then all of a sudden the home court goes back to Milwaukee, and the Bucks can put themselves in a pretty good position with wins in games 3 and 4 at Pfizer Forum. So a lot
Bucks
going
even
on.
it up.
Yep, busy time with the NBA playoffs. The hockey playoffs have started. Major League Baseball, got the NFL draft.
Yep.
High school sports, a lot of sports going on right now in this time of year.
Absolutely.
Coming up in the second hour of the program, we will be joined by Robyn Vargas of the Marathon County Public Library. She'll be with us coming up in just a few minutes at 9:06. Then at 9:34 from the Wausau Sustainability, Energy, and Environment Committee, member Jay Coldwell, along with Ben Lee of the Hunger Coalition. And then we'll wrap it up with our final history lesson. We'll have a look at what's been going on in the history on this date, April the 22nd.
I really enjoy the history lesson.
Well, you have to tune in to Pat. He does it at 8:50. Should be at 6:51. So
it's still going to be happening.
So Pat will have it earlier in the morning. But we'll have our number for the day quiz coming up at the end as well. 8:58. More to come here on 98.9 WXCO.
Feel it in the air, the wind is taking me everywhere. All I need is a TV show, that and the radio. Down on my luck again, down on my luck again. I can show you some of the people in my life. I can show you some of the people in my life. It's driving me mad. Just another way of passing the day.
Good morning. It is Tuesday, April the 22nd of 2025. The time is 9:07. Currently 46 degrees in downtown Wausau at our WXCO studios at the corner of Washington and North 3rd Street downtown. I am Chad Holmes, and it is the Chad Holmes Show, the final edition under this umbrella. But as I've said, not going anywhere. We're still going to be part of the morning show with Pat Kreitlow. We'll have local segments within our Pat Kreitlow program that starts tomorrow morning from 6 until 9 a.m. and then from 9 to 11, Matinee on air. And I will be here along with Ian with local segments between 7 and 9 a.m. starting tomorrow morning. So again, we'll have more on this as we continue here this morning. But as we do every other week, we get a chance to talk to Robyn Vargas from the Marathon County Public Library. And Robyn, good morning.
Good morning, Chad.
Absolutely. We're into it hasn't really felt like it. It's still been too cold to be called spring, but doggone it, it's late April. We got to start turning things around. But there's one thing we can always count on is a lot of great activities at the Marathon County Public Library. How have things been going generally? Has it been pretty busy over there?
Things have been great. So last Saturday, I wanted to mention this. I had brought it up a couple weeks ago, our sourdough starter program that we were having at the library. That occurred last Saturday, I believe, maybe 2 weeks ago. I can't remember anymore. The point is, we had about 150 people show up for this event.
Wow.
It was amazing. It was a packed house. We just couldn't believe it. Every single chair in the room we had pulled out, and we still had people standing in the back waiting to hear about sourdough and wanting to learn more about it. And so we will be offering that one again in June. We heard the demand for it, but yeah, it was just amazing to see that many people and get them on into the library.
That must be an amazing feeling when you have an event and you're hoping that it goes well and you hope that a lot of folks will stop on by, and when they just keep coming and they keep coming and they keep coming. I imagine that it just, in some ways, it makes everything a little bit more worthwhile. Obviously, you have great satisfaction in what you do at the library, but man, when you have something that just kind of blows you away, that must be very special.
Yeah, absolutely. And believe it or not, it was our event coordinator's first event at the library. And this is just something that she knows a lot about. She's passionate about sourdough, has a lot of knowledge. And she actually is a former teacher. And so she can present well in front of large groups of people. And so it was just, she did amazing. And it was, just really great to see that many people come out. So
it sounds like now a high bar for the future.
Yeah, well,
if she's one for one here, it's going to be very, very difficult now to top, and when you're packing in the entire room like that. But again, it just shows that when you do, sometimes when you think about, sourdough, it's like, but sometimes you don't know what this connects, right? And that's probably part of the fun is to, sometimes you'll have these ideas that may seem a little bit off the wall, but then it'll work. Maybe sometimes it won't work, but at the same time, you get great opportunities to try to bring maybe different things to the folks here in Central Wisconsin.
Exactly. Yeah, for sure.
Anything else that's been going on that you want to mention before we look to the future?
Yeah. So not really programming wise, but a new service that we're offering, Canopy Streaming Services. They offer a ton of educational content, foreign films, some award-winning films, a lot of great kids content, and the library has offered free streaming access to our library patrons.
Oh.
And so we have 3 packs that we're starting out with: a favorites pack, a series pack, so some TV shows, and then the kids pack, which, like I said, it has a ton of PBS stuff. Some old Sesame Street is on there. We've got some new stuff, Blippi, just a ton of great kids shows on there. But then they also have storybooks as well. Mo Willems, the Elephant and Piggy and the Pigeon, and all of those great characters that kids love. They have the books on there that they can read along with. And so folks can download the app either on your phone, your smart TV, however you download apps. You can access it on your computer as well, but just create a free account, log in with your library card number and PIN, and you're ready to go. Start watching some free shows.
Fantastic. By chance, I just pulled up your Facebook page and I see the pictures from your sourdough program. It was packed.
It was a packed house. Yep.
Some really cool pictures there. And again, a reminder for folks that if you hear something on this program when we're talking about some of these events, go to the Facebook page or go to mcpl.us
yes.
To get further information as well.
Yeah, for
Again,
sure.
we're talking to Robyn Vargas from the Marathon County Public Library here on 98.9 WXCO. Well, let's look ahead. Obviously, things are always coming, and I'm sure there are things coming both to the main branch here in downtown Wausau and then all the other branches around the county. Yeah,
so here at Wausau, coming up this Saturday at our Wausau headquarters, April 26th, we have Plarn cording and macrame. Have you ever heard of Plarn, Chad?
I was gonna try not to look like I was completely clueless about it, but I can say that I have never heard of that.
I don't think I had before either, to be honest. It's a new word for our vocabulary, but it's plastic yarn, and so we are making that out of plastic grocery bags. So I'm sure everyone's got their own stockpile of grocery bags at home that you save for whatever reason, but if you have too many, we're going to take those, and it's some kind of knitting that involves the plastic bags going into making the Plarn. But we'll show you how, and then we will take that Plarn and use it to make either a macrame air plant hanger or a water bottle holder. And we will be providing the air plants. So come on down. You'll learn how to Plarn, get rid of those plastic bags, make an air plant holder, and get a new plant for your house. So
very cool.
Win-win all around.
When again is that?
That's this Saturday, April 26th at 2:30.
Very good. What else is happening?
Yeah, so jumping ahead to next week at our Wausau headquarters, I bring up our book sales a lot, but this is our next public book sale happening. So May 1st through May 3rd, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, pretty much anytime the library is open. If you are a member of the Friends group, you get early access on Wednesday night, April 30th. And then they are doing their $6 bag sale on Saturday again. So a paper grocery bag, fill it up with books, as many as you can fit in there for only $6. It's a great deal.
And by the way, it is really worth it to become a member, isn't it?
It really is. It's only $10 for the whole year, or $15 for a family.
I mean, that's nothing. And getting that little advantage.
Yeah,
to be able
exactly.
to, before somebody else gets in there and grabs some of the best stuff right away.
Get to, pick out your treasures first.
And real fast, to become a member, is there anything, just stop on in?
Stop on in, when they're having their sale, and it's a couple questions on a piece of paper, and that's really all it takes.
Fantastic.
So less than a minute can get signed up.
So again, May 1st to the 3rd of the next public book sale.
Yeah.
All right. What else is on the list here? Because you always have such a long list
of
great stuff to talk about.
I try to include it all, and we never have enough time.
I know. But we try.
Yes, we sure do. We'll jump ahead to the branches a little bit. Out in Spencer this week, they've got a couple happening. So tomorrow, April 23rd, they have a What's Happening in Spencer is the title of the program. So it's the police chief and the Spencer Village administrator are coming and giving a talk, kind of just giving some updates on what's been happening in the community, some things that are, what's to come, and have some time to answer questions from the audience. So if you're, in that area and want to know what's going on, head there on Wednesday. On Friday in Spencer, they have a spring handbell concert. So the Spencer High School, they have 2 groups of handbell ensembles, and they'll be performing at our Spencer location Friday, April 25th at 10:30. So free concert, all ages, come on down. And then hopping ahead to the next week, Monday, April 28th, they are having a card making event for the Honor Flight. So upcoming Honor Flight, they'll be making some thank you cards That's Monday, April 28th from 3 to 6. If you can't make that one, we're also having it in Stratford the following day, April 29th from 3 to 6.
Sounds like Spencer's got it going on.
Yeah, yep. They've got a lot happening lately.
And that's, again,
Yeah.
one of the cool aspects that about your programming, you do bring it to the people right throughout the
Exactly.
country,
Mhm.
throughout the county. You don't have to come from Spencer all the way here to Wausau or something like that.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Head to your own local branch. Yeah.
Exactly right. And I know that there's other activities going on as well.
Yeah, out in Rothschild on May 1st, they have a presentation that I'm actually pretty interested in. And now that I look at it, I'm out of town that day, so I can't make it. It's a
Oh,
bummer,
geez.
but it's called Van Life, and it's all about the people choosing to live life out on the road in their van and how to do that, how to maybe convert your van into your own tiny home and some of the joys and challenges of living life on the road. And so it sounds pretty interesting. And that one's at 5:30 on May 1st at Rothschild.
Man, even if you're not interested in living life on the road, it'd be very interesting to hear about the life that it is. But some
other experiences.
Again, that's one of the things about the library generally is you can find out about things that maybe you have not experienced yourself. I mean, whether it's through the power of books or whether it's through the power of an event like that. That's very interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
And what else before we got about 2 minutes to go? Make sure we hit on the important things before we wrap it up.
Yeah, we'll bounce over to Mosinee Monday, April 28th. They have a computer basics class on using the internet. So if you have maybe some family members in your life who are not there yet and need a little help, come on down to Mosinee. We do ask that you register for that one. You can just give the Mosinee branch a call, but that one will be a really big help. I know I heard at least 1 or 2 patrons here in Wausau in the last couple of weeks. My desk happens to be pretty close to the reference desk, and so I overhear things occasionally, but I heard an older patron say, I really need some help using a computer and didn't really know where to start. And we said, we can give you some basics, but here's this class as well. That'll be a really good tool for you to have and to be able to learn from that.
And that's so wonderful because sometimes when you think, well, everybody knows this but me, and it can be sometimes hard to even come up to a reference desk
exactly.
like that.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Again, that's a really cool aspect of what you guys do at the library as well. In our last minute, make sure we hit on what else is happening.
Edgar, tomorrow, April 23rd from 4 to 5:30, they're making some felt flower decor. So if you're feeling crafty, head on over to Edgar. And then we'll hop forward to next weekend at our Wausau headquarters. We've got 2 events on Saturday, May 3rd. In the morning for kids, we have a migratory bird celebration from 9:30 to 11. We're going to have some special guests from the Wausau Bird Club come on down to teach us and, have some hands-on crafts and games and things like that. So that'll be fun. And then from starting at 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., we have Marathon County family trivia. So trivia all about Marathon County. Maybe what was Wausau's original name? What popular cheese was invented in Marathon County? I don't know.
Gonna wrap it up right there.
All right.
mcpl.us and follow on Facebook.
That's right.
Robyn, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
Sounds good. Thank you.
nothing but a dreamer. Can you put your hands in your head? Oh no. I said, wow, what a day, a year, a life it is. You know, well you know, you had it coming to you. Now there's not a lot I can do. Dreamer.
Chad Home Show 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app. We got a text from Julie in Wausau talking about the mayor and his appointment of 4 new members of the ethics board that will not be put onto the board at this point because the city council has said they're not going to approve them at this point because they want to get through this ethics investigation of the mayor. But Julie from Wausau says, although the mayor has revealed himself to be a bully like Trump, Wausau is fortunate to have a city council that does its job and doesn't cave into him. The Republican Congress has been missing in action. And that's, I think, a very true point. Because
Julie, thank you for sending that in.
Because, when you look at it, the only way that people like Trump or any chief executive in this position, whether it's the mayor of Wausau, mayor of other communities, governors of states, president of the United States, is able to force through a lot of their,
regulations,
ideas,
standards,
and is how much will the legislative branch let them do it. And I think we've seen in the case of the Congress of the United States, they've allowed the president to be able to do pretty much what he wants to do without much pushback, not pushing back on the tariffs or anything like that at this point. But then you look at what's happened in the city of Wausau when the mayor back in February made that appointment of the Tom Tiffany staffer to become a member of the ethics board. The board said, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to change the board in the midst of this investigation at this point. And then for the mayor to put out this press release yesterday announcing the 4 new members that he wants to put on there, including 2 far-right Republicans, I think that at this point that is, for lack of a better term, dead on arrival for this point in our process. But once the current...
You're quoting Robyn Vargas there.
I know. I almost feel dirty doing that. But I think at the point of the end of this ethics investigation, we will see perhaps then the discussion go on, and hopefully there'll be some sort of meeting of the minds between the mayor and the council and try to get folks that will be good stewards of that position and be able to do the job in a fair and impartial way. So again, it's a news story that will continue to be on the forefront as we continue. Also, again, just want to remind folks that starting tomorrow, there is a new schedule going into effect here on Civic Media and 98.9 WXCO. We will have Pat Kreitlow's program being rebranded to Mornings with Pat Kreitlow from 6 until 9 a.m., and we will be part of that program. Again, this show under its current umbrella is ending, but we will be part of that program. We will be doing live local segments here from our studios in Wausau. We will be doing interviews and talking about the news and talking about events and talking about area sports, everything else that we do on this show. We will be doing, but in a different way starting tomorrow. So make sure you tune in from 6 till 9 for Pat's show. We will be part of the show from 7 until 9 a.m. And
we'll still have our number of the day, the quiz. Hopefully, we just don't know when.
And I hope so, because I am getting some notes here, and there's like technical stuff in terms of trying to set it up. So the idea is tomorrow we're going to smoothly go into it, but make sure that you tune in, and hopefully we'll be able to smoothly transition right into it starting tomorrow. And then Matt and Air on.
Bear with us.
Yeah, I know. When change happens and when you change a lot of the logs and the technical aspects, especially with programming going from around the state, we will be doing local segments here from Wausau. Earl Ingram will be doing local segments from Milwaukee on WAUK. You got other stations as well around the state that will be doing local segments. So there's a lot of moving pieces for this new morning show that will be kicking off tomorrow morning on Civic Media and stations around the state of Wisconsin.
Indeed.
But then Jane Matinair and Greg Bach, Matinair on Air, will be moving up an hour, 9 to 11 a.m. tomorrow. Tom Hartman program will be on from 11 a.m. until 2 p.m. Todd Alba moving back 2 hours. Todd will have his show on from 2 until 4 tomorrow. In fact, today, Todd will have his final noon till 2 program, and he's doing it live from Governor Nelson State Park. And Governor Gaylord Nelson, who is also a senator from Wisconsin, both a governor and a senator, he is the man behind Earth Day. He's the originator.
Oh,
So Todd is doing the show from Governor Nelson State Park down near the
Very
state
cool.
capitol. And there'll be a special Earth Day presentation from noon until 2. And then Todd will begin his new time slot tomorrow from 2 until 4. And then finally, the Maggie Dawn show also moving back 2 hours. She will be on from 4 until 6 every weekday starting tomorrow. So again, it's a situation where there's going to be a lot of moving pieces, and hopefully, the best way to do it is just tune in all day. Wake up in the morning, tune us in, keep it on all throughout the day, and keep us on right into the evening and even beyond that. So again, we'll have some changes, but it's still going to be a lot of the same voices you've heard, but just different little time slots and different ways of doing it. So
that's right.
and again, we will be around. We will still be part of the production here at Civic Media. Coming up, we have a information update. We do it at the top and the bottom of every hour. Give you the news, the weather, the sports, and entertainment as well. That is coming up. And then after that, we will have some guests coming into the studio. We will be talking to Wausau Sustainability, Energy, and Environment Committee member Jay Coldwell, along with Ben Lee of the Hunger Coalition as well. So that's coming up. And then, of course, we will have our final segment with our history lesson and our number for the day quiz. And I forgot I was going to do it this segment to let you know what the topic is about. You're going to go in cold today. We're going to
surprise me.
I will give it to you at the start of the segment, so you have at least a few minutes to kind of stew on it at the end of that. So yeah, still plenty to come. The time is 9:28. Overcast skies here in downtown Wausau. Temperature stands at 46 degrees. I am Chad Holmes with Ian Welsh. Chad Holmes Show, 98.9 WXCO.
To take you far away. Don't you know? Gotta go. Fetch the bills from everyone every day. Get away. Go my way. When the day begins to end in your mind, come on with me. Make you feel love. It's like the lights in the last secret time. Come on with me. Have no fear.
And welcome back. Chad Holmes with you here on 98.9 WXCO, online at WXCO.FM, mobile devices and Alexa by searching WXCO, and on the Civic Media app, and also on YouTube, youtube.com, and the 98.9 WXCO channel on YouTube. And if you're watching on YouTube, you see not just me around the table right now. We are full of folks around the table, and very happy to welcome to our program Jay Coldwell, who's a member of the Wausau Sustainability, Energy, and Environment Committee, Ben Lee from the Hunger Coalition, and Kat Becker from Cattails Organics. And all of you, thank you for coming on in this morning. We're going to be talking about food here a lot here this morning. Before we actually start talking about some of the issues, can we talk a little bit about the organizations that you're working for? And let's start with Ben. Hunger Coalition. What is the Hunger Coalition here in Central Wisconsin? What do you do? Number one.
Yes.
And if you make sure to get that microphone turned towards you as you talk.
So we are, the Hunger Coalition is a program of United Way of Marathon County. And it's the arm of all of our food week, or all of our food work. So affectionately, we refer to ourselves as food people.
Mm-hmm.
And we treat it as an internal funded program at United Way of Marathon County. So grassroots coalition made up of 18 community members that are all striving to do the same thing, get people access to fresh and healthy food.
And Kat Becker of Cattails Organics. Could you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so I am the owner and operator of Cattail Organics, which is a small diversified family farm in northwestern Marathon County. We're located in Athens, and I've been here for almost 20 years. It's my 20th farming season, and I have been partnering with Ben for the last 5 years, kind of since the pandemic, on a lot of fresh forward local food for our community. So that's a big part of what we do, and part of what we're really passionate about for our community.
And Jay Coldwell, Wausau Sustainability, Energy, Environment Committee. We've had members of your committee on over the last couple of months. Could you talk a little bit about the connection between the committee and groups like our fellow guest here this morning?
Sure. Yeah. The Sustainability Committee has a really broad mandate. It's like anything that you can imagine that would have any impact on sustainability into the future. And food, of course, is one of those. We know that there's a lot of challenges coming up climate-wise, and food supply and distribution chains and so on. And so we want to do what we can do to encourage a healthy local farmer group and providing food to our own community.
It's, I think, what some folks would think, what? There's a challenge involving food and production, and especially you call it the high quality food. And I thought with Ben and Kat, could you talk a little bit about what the challenges are within your organizations that you're seeing when it comes to availability of quality foods, and maybe what your focus is on within your groups?
Yes, I think the biggest hurdle that the Hunger Coalition had to kind of bounce was the cost. It is a little bit more expensive for people to access that kind of food, but we think it's a well worth investment. And so the community has loudly agreed with that. The program started as a $10,000 program that we run with the farms, and today it's over $108,000 5 years later. And so the big barrier was making people understand just kind of the nuances when it comes to food, that food isn't always a reactive situation, right? We have to make intentional strategies and invest the dollars in our community and in our local farms to make sure that people have the highest quality food. And so for us, that was the biggest thing, was getting people to understand why we were making this investment instead of maybe taking the cheap route sometimes.
And Kat, you kind of dedicated your life to this. Okay.
Ooh.
And
Small technical
that's not your fault. And but yeah, we got to screw that thing, that baby back in. But Kat, you said it. You kind of dedicated your life to this.
Yeah, I mean, our farm has always been focused on community in our region as the area that we provide food for, and we've always felt really strongly about increasing access to that food, and we do that through a variety of ways. But this partnership, and I know we'll talk a little bit about the LFPA program, have been ways to impact those that have the most restricted access. And I think one of the most amazing things that came out of the pandemic, let's talk about the the positive parts of the pandemic was
the silver lining,
that I
right?
think that people started to recognize that those who need good food the most deserve it. And I think that that's a big shift in terms of how people think about food aid. I mean, if you've been to food banks at all, visited or volunteered or participated in getting food for them, you might notice that there has been a shift across the United States, but especially in this region, from kind of boxed stuff, the cheapest food, to a more fresh forward food. So, you know, fresh vegetables, but also access to proteins like meat and dairy. And those are the things that people actually want to feed their families the most. And so giving people access to that. And we know the outcomes from feeding people good food, especially school children, are really high. And so giving people who are in crises, who are less stable, who, you know, can't meet their food budget month to month, access to those things, I think, is a foundation for our community to be healthier far into the future. We're investing in people's health and also people's stability. You can feel really good about cooking a fresh meal, whether you have means to go shopping at the farmer's market or be in the CSA or go to a grocery store like Downtown Grocery, or if you're visiting food banks. And I think that, you know, that's what I've loved most about this program, but also just a shift in people's mentality about food.
Let's talk about LFPA and the funding and the importance of it. And I guess, Jay, do you want to jump in here? Maybe for folks who are just not familiar with it, what is LFPA funding?
I think I'll lateral back to these guys. They're neck deep in it, at least.
Okay.
Yeah. So LFPA stands for Local Food Purchase Assistance. And I've talked about LFPA so much I can reduce it down to a very simple explanation of the program. The USDA pays farmers to give me food. And so instead of me paying the farms like we do in some of our other programs, the USDA allocates these grants, you could call them, out to farmers. And then the farmers get to choose where their food is going. And we've built such a good relationship with our farmers in Marathon County that a lot of them chose us. Some also choose schools, and that's just as valuable as me. And so then we take that food and we distribute it out to over 27 food access partners. So kind of the old way of just maybe stocking a pantry isn't enough anymore. We have to meet people where they are, and where people are picking their kids up from the Boys and Girls Club, picking their kids up from the YMCA. The Hmong American Center, things like that. And so then our job is to kind of take that food and get it distributed widely out into the community. And so one of the things I'm most proud of is we watch LFPA orders, we watch where they go. We've never wasted a pound of it. It's always gone out the door within 24 hours.
It kind of brings up a question, and again, I really don't know the answer, because when you talk about grants and funding, and you talk about waste, we've been hearing a lot of those words being thrown around. Is there concern right now in your communities in terms of funding and making sure that this continues to be a vibrant program?
Yeah, so I will say LFPA, which was a program that was supposed to continue for another year, so basically May 2025 through 2026, is terminated by the USDA. So the USDA has terminated that program. The reason it's gotten a lot of attention is because a lot of farmers, both in Wisconsin, which is probably one of the most northern growing environments, and then all the way into the American South, had already been planning and planting food for that. And so the attention it got was basically that farmers had already invested in that. They had hired employees. They had done all of the things based on the idea that the money had been appropriated for this program. And different states run these programs differently. The money goes from the federal government to the state, and then the state disperses the funds. But in Wisconsin, I mean, Ben can talk about the impacts a little bit. It's a significant impact in the volume of food that will go out to food banks, because there is not funding replacing that. And it is also a program that was relatively inexpensive from a USDA standpoint. If you look at the total amount of the USDA budget, it was drops in the bucket, but very large impacts both for farmers economically, having a contract and knowing exactly what you're going to grow. Two other things I just want to mention about LFPA fast while we're on the air. One of them is, people have asked me this question over and over again, is that farmers aren't determining their own price. So people are like, can farmers just charge whatever they want? No. there's a program, basically a process by which there's a price ceiling and then a recommended price floor for farmers. And so in Marathon County, we can decide if that price works for us for a given crop. So most farms were producing between like 4 and 20 different crops for the program. The other thing I want to mention is that currently in the state of Wisconsin, there is an attempt to get the LFPA program into the state budget. And there has been an impetus for doing this with other programs in the past. And in fact, I would have expected this to happen in the next budgeting cycle for LFPA when the USDA program was phased out. But now this is kind of a more reactive emergency situation because the state normally plans far in advance to bring those programs into its own purview. And so if you are going to budget hearings, you can contact the Wisconsin Farmers Union, which is the state organization that has all the information on what the LFPA would look like in the budget. But there is a chance for us to save this program at a state level, which I think is incredibly powerful for all levels of food aid organizations, but also many farmers. There are lots of farmers, both in Marathon County and around the state, where this represented 45 or 50% of their wholesale. For us, we're fortunate that it was less than that. It was about a fifth of our sales. But for some of these smaller farms, you're talking about a huge impact on their well-being as well. So there's reasons to think about that.
You've talked about trying to, get the food to the people. You're talking about going to the people, and also in terms of the farming aspect of it as well. Jay, you had sent me, again, some notes about this and talked about a farm stop. Could you explain to me what that means and how that would improve maybe all aspects of this?
Yeah, one of the, as Kat mentioned, one of the key parts of the LFPA program was it provided a base of revenue and informed them a lot as to what they needed to plant. And so that stability is really important. They're not dependent on the weather and on the farmer market, and if you rained out 3 weekends in a row, what happens. So one thing that started to come up in Ann Arbor, Michigan, I think was a pioneer of this, is something called a farm stop, which is basically a grocery store for small local farmers. And the farmers provide their produce, the stores open, normal business hours virtually every day. Farmers get in that program, they get 70% of the revenue. They price their own products themselves. And so it's another piece of, the revenue pie, for a farmer, and could be part of something that really develops a virtuous cycle locally, where there's more local food produced, more local food consumed, and we become more independent as an entity. Maybe someday we could eat, almost all of our food could come from a 50-mile radius of Wausau, which would bring us a lot of resilience, and as a sustainability committee member, that's something I'm really interested in.
And as a farmer yourself, Kat, we got about a minute before a break, and maybe if you can stick around maybe for a few more minutes, because this time goes by so quickly. What as a farmer, how does that sound to you?
I mean, I think developing outlets for distribution and a more resilient food system is necessary at this point. We saw during COVID that the food system, especially north of Highway 29 and Highway 64, for fresh food almost collapsed completely. And so we know that there's weaknesses in the food system locally. I think the Farm Stop is one model for that. I would like to say the Hunger Coalition right now basically is the model for a Farm Stop, but for food aid. And so there's a lot of lessons to learn from the way that they have centralized refrigeration, they have distribution, they go to smaller outlets. The other model is a food hub. So we're members of the Wisconsin Food Hub Cooperative, as is Red Door Family Farm, which is one of our partners. And there are some of us, including us and Red Door Family Farm, currently working on being a mini food hub. So basically helping aggregate food from other farmers in our neighborhood and helping distribute that both locally and at the state level. I mean, there's a lot of components and it takes a lot to build this. I mentioned I've been here for 20 years. I think a lot has happened since COVID. There's been a lot of movement. Partially because of federal money that's allowed people to actually invest in those distribution systems, right, and refrigeration systems and other things. But I think the Farm Stop is one really good model. And I think trying out multiple models and seeing what works best in a community is great. And I think it's important what Jay mentioned about the farmers market. People, I think farmers markets are wonderful. They're a great entrance point, but there are very many professional growers.
Hey, Kat,
especially.
we got a hard break here. We'll
Break.
come back in
Go
2
for it.
minutes. Back right in a moment. And welcome back. Our final segment here this morning. In fact, our final segment for this show as we know it, as things will be changing tomorrow. But we're talking to Jay Coldwell, Ben Lee, and Kat Becker. And Ben, you were making some points during the break I think that people need to hear, because in terms of trying to find the right answers here, you were just saying, hey, there's some things to think about as well.
Yeah, I love the concept of a farm stop. My dream is to open a corner grocery store that just serves fresh produce to the neighborhood that it exists in. Unfortunately, human behavior tells us different. Less than 1% of all the SNAP users in Marathon County go and use their SNAP benefits at the farmers market. And so that was telling us, well, they're not coming here. And so we need to take the produce out of the farmers market and bring it to them. And so that's where we came up with this CSA idea, where the Hunger Coalition purchases 200 CSAs a week from Cattail and Red Door. We package the product with volunteers, and then we deliver it to food access partners so they can get it to the people. I always say, when it comes to shoulds, people should be going to the farmer's market. They should get to know their farmer. But I also have to operate in, are they though? And they're not. And so I think maybe the next phase of this is, to Jay's point, how do we build walls around it? How do we kind of create a consistent place for these folks to go and access something like this?
And really for everyone,
yeah,
not low income only, but
our focus is low income, but I believe everybody should have access to fresh produce. CSA's changed my life. I want them to change everybody's life.
And Jay, real fast before we wrap things up, is the governmental aspect. You're part of a committee within the city, but obviously there's limits to what a committee can do, and even when you get even up the chain, how can the partnership, and when you hear good ideas. And it sounds as though, man, there's a lot of things that you think you could do, but you also need some of the tools to be able to make it happen. How do you, as somebody maybe on the governmental side, look at in terms of trying to take some of the ideas that you hear from either from Ben and his work with the Hunger Coalition or with Kat within her farm to try to bring it all together? Because I mean it's pretty complex, isn't it?
Yeah, and you can bet that we're not going to be funded a lot of money to do something like this through the city, right?
Right.
So I think it's somewhat of a communication coordination role, visibility role, helping to make sure that the council is aware of these issues. As the council becomes more aware and its importance in developing community. I mean, we really have to come together as a much stronger community to meet the challenges of the next few decades. This will start to arise in the city's political environment. But and who knows, there may be a city building somewhere that could be used. There may be other infrastructure that could be used at little or no cost to the city. So we just need to explore the options.
And I guess finally, Ben and Kat, maybe some final thoughts on, I think you said, frankly, I've learned a lot that I had not heard of, to be honest with you. I guess for folks out there tuned in, final things to think about as we move forward and the importance, again, of food, of healthy food, of where we're going in the future. I guess final thoughts.
Yeah, I'll give some data and I'll let Kat give the emotional plea. I think she does better at that than I do. Wisconsin is losing $5 million of LFPA funding. In Marathon County, that turns into about $125,000 to $150,000 a year in food that I do not have to give to food access partners anymore. Nonprofits can't be expected to shoulder the weight. We have finite budgets. We can only raise so much in the community and feel good about it before you're badgering people.
Sure.
And so it's my opinion that the government has to step in here. The state has to step in. This is a crucial program. And so we'll be there Tuesday, April 29th at NTC at the public hearing sessions. And I was privileged enough to have a one-on-one with Governor Evers and talk about LFPA. And the signaling looks good. I think we're going to get something, but it's not going to be $5 million. And so, yeah, that's where we're at right now. And what I always say is feeding kiddos good food isn't a political issue. It's just an issue that we all have to rally around. So,
and Kat, final thoughts.
Yeah, I will. People have asked me a lot about like what to do. Are farms okay? How do we help? So I will give you my action items. Number one, either go to the budget hearing, which is conveniently in Wausau,
for once,
and speak about LFPA, or just submit comments. Wisconsin Farmers Union also has form letters and language for sending letters to representatives or for the hearing. So Wisconsin Farmers Union has that information and you can contact them directly or look on their social media. The other one is, which I know Ben isn't pleading for here, but is support the Hunger Coalition. So people have asked us about, giving money to our farm. Don't give money to our farm. I like money, but give money to the Hunger Coalition. They, first of all, can allow you to write it off. We're a private business. They are not. But also, they can direct it where they most need the food. And we trust their judgment to do that well for our community and work with a variety of farmers. And then the other one is, support local farmers. So farmers market is one way to do it. Another big one is joining a CSA. We have wonderful CSAs in our area. So joining a CSA is a really significant one. And support local businesses that buy local. Downtown Grocery does a lot of local purchasing. Red Eye is probably the pioneer restaurant that we work with that does a lot of sourcing. I mean, Van Acre also does source a lot locally. But, ask about local produce at local businesses, connect them with local farms, and, send that message, because there's going to be a lot of farms, not just ourselves in Red Door, that have extra food this year. We'd love to be able to send it all to Ben, and that would be great. But if we can't, building out those markets, this is an opportunity to do that. So those are all things you can do locally. Do something locally.
Jay Coldwell, Ben Lee, Kat Becker, thank you all for joining us. And finally, in our last 20 seconds, again, this is the end of this show. Tomorrow we'll be part of Mornings with Pat Kreitlow, so tune in from 6 till 9. It's been a pleasure for the last 2.5 years hosting this show. appreciate everybody and the support you've had. We'll talk to you tomorrow during Mornings with Pat Kreitlow here on 98.9 WXCO.
Some of the